Well, this is the Betfred Boxing Show, and we've been doing quite a bit of mooching around the country recently, and we're doing it again. We're in Sheffield, we're in Manchester the other day. Now we are here ahead of Kid Galahad and his latest challenge against Kiko Martinez, and we await the press conference today. It's all filling up nicely. I've seen quite a few of the fighters knocking around. We're going to catch up with a few of them, Anthony, a bit later on. But firstly, let's start with the news, and it's great news, that Betfred have extended a deal with Matchroom for another year. Brilliant. I think it's a 12-show deal, if you like, with that. So we're going to have to get Eddie's thoughts on that later on. But, you know, Betfred doing the business in boxing.
They are delivering yet again, and I think some of the shows that Matchroom have been putting on lately, it's a fantastic move. And, do you know, it's great for us. I think even more so for us to be here week in, week out on the road. And it's great to be with the Betfred team.
Now, this fight, again, this weekend, Kid Galahad, who we know he wanted Josh Warrington a while ago, he wanted other names, he's got Kiko Martinez. Now, some have suggested that Martinez, all right, we know all about him, 35, he seems to have been going forever. How big a test is it for Kid, and how excited are you about this fight?
I think one I'm excited is because Kiko Martinez, and this isn't certainly disrespectful because of how long he's been at world level, he knows how to fight one way, and that's to come forward and literally throw the kitchen sink at the opponent. But I think in Kid Galahad, he's fighting someone who I've seen how hard he works. For me, the most, or one of, right up there with the most dedicated professional in British boxing, and he lives it. And I think people underestimate, they'll go on about, some people might say he's lack of power, but the physical strength for him, he's very, very strong. And I think he's coming off a fantastic win against a very, very good fighter in Jazza Dickens. I believe he's going to come through well and put a bit of a statement out there against Kiko Martinez, but I do think it'll be fun while it lasts.
Now, there is another women's fight to look forward to as well. I'm sure we'll catch up with Terri a bit later on, Terri Harper. She's got Alicia Baumgardner that she has to take on. Chris Billam-Smith's also got French opposition that we don't know a great deal about, but he just can't afford to slip up, can he? They're the two co-mains, if you like.
Chris Billam-Smith, for me, one of the most improved fighters in Britain. The work that he's been doing with Shane McGuiness and the team, it's clear to see since the Ratport fight, he's gone on some run, and now he's sort of doing it the traditional way, British, Commonwealth, European. I think we all know what comes next, but I think Chris is very level-headed, and I think, especially not just because he's gym mates Lawrence Crolla, but he knows he'll stay at this level till the time's right. But no, very important night for him on Saturday.
Well, I think we can get on with the press conference action here now. So let's see what we get and who we hear from and all the rest of it ahead of this Kid Galahad, Kiko Martinez fight.
Yeah, I just can't wait, you know. And, you know, just on about just Kiko, just then saying about Mickey Garcia and Anthony Joshua. Mentally, I'm different to these guys, and I've never in my career have I ever underestimated any fighter. And on Saturday night, trust me, he's going to believe he wish he never took this fight.
You know that a lot of people didn't want this fight. You know, we went through the rankings as well, and when we looked at Kiko Martinez, we know, you know, he's a credible name. Of course, we know about our tie-up with Spanish boxing as well. But a real fight, a guy that's not going to come and go in his shell after a couple of rounds, a guy that is going to do literally everything he can to dethrone you on Saturday. 100%.
Some of the names that you give me, I think Kiko was the best from all of them because he's a former world champion. He's been at this level for 15 years. Name me another fighter who's been at the world level or just, you know, below it for 15 years. There hasn't been, you know, and I think he boxed Brendan Monroe when he's 20 years old. He's 35 now and he's still at the same level, so he must be doing something right. But, you know, I believe I'm a different kettle of fish to him, and Saturday night I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take it easy and I'm going to seriously hit him.
Obviously, some big fights out there for you beyond this, but I know the focus is on Saturday. I mean, tremendous fight upcoming with Lee Wood against Michael Condon. I know that's for the WBA regular title, but Navarrete as well is a guy that you've been targeting for big unifications. They're all there for you in 2022, but you must come through this test on Saturday.
And that's the thing, Eddie, you know, forget them fights for now. It's all about Kiko Martinez Saturday night, going there and doing a job on him. And I'm not looking just to go in there and just win. I'm looking, you know, he's had some bad decisions in the past, you know, against Alpha Barry, against Josh Warrington. So I know he's going to come and he's going to try to leave it to the judges' hands. And that's what I'm going to do, you know. I'm not going to leave it to the judges' hands. I'm going to go in there and seriously hit him.
And finally, what would it mean to you personally to walk out there on Saturday night? Obviously, you've boxed on the undercards there a lot, but headlining in the bright lights, defending your world title, years of hard work in the Ingle gym, and obviously thoughts with Brendan Ingle as well on the night. I'm sure we'll be looking down extremely proud.
you know what, Eddie, you know, all the razzmatazz and that, I don't really let it get to me. I'm just focused on the fight. You know, like all the media stuff and the ring walk and people shouting your name. To me, you know, when I get to that venue, I'm tunnel vision. I'm just ready to seriously hit. So I'm focused on what I've got to do, and that's it. You know, all that other stuff, it don't really bother me. I'm here to win and stay champion for a long time.
Well, thank you, Kid Galahad. Big fight for him defending his world title against Kiko Martinez. A great other world championship fight on the card. Terri Harper against Alicia Baumgardner. European championship fight. Chris Billam-Smith against Dillian Bregan. Flint against Hunt with a double up on the KO. Dante Dixon, Khalid Ayub, William Cooley, and of course Stevie Levy, Raven Chapman. Big night of boxing this Saturday from Sheffield Arena.
Well, we moved from Manchester to Sheffield, but it's still Matchroom, it's still DAZN, another big card. But before we have a quick word about the card, Eddie, big news with Betfred, Matchroom extending a deal for 12 months. I mean, give us your thoughts on that.
Well, we always love to work with great partners, and Betfred and Fred Doan have always been big supporters of not just boxing, but a lot of Matchroom property. Of course, World Snooker as well, massive supporter of that. And we entered into an agreement with Betfred not so long ago, and delighted to do a new 12-month extension. Thank you for the continued support. It makes a big difference for the shows and for the fighters on the shows as well. Great to have a great partner in Betfred, and even better to have you two following us around for another 12 months. So everybody wins.
It's a win-win, but it is, I think, a 12 main shows as well, isn't it? Which shows what you're going to be doing, and what obviously Betfred are back in boxing as well. So again, you know, the DAZN thing raised some eyebrows, I suppose, but it just shows you where you are and what you're committed to.
Oh, look, we're long-term players, and you know, we've seen what we've done in British boxing. You know, the DAZN experience has been, 3 months now, 4 months into that, so early doors, but already put on some great cards. Of course, Josh Warrington at Headingley, Smith against Fowler at Liverpool, this weekend in Sheffield, and of course the two huge ones to end the year with Conor Benn against Algieri, Chisora Parker as well, and coupled that in with Demetrius Andrade against Quigley, Teofimo Lopez against Cambosos, Devin Haney against Jojo Diaz, and so much more to come from around the world. So things are great, and excited to see Betfred with us for every step of the way.
Ed, we're not going to keep you too long. Twice in 48 hours is enough for you and for us, isn't it? However, do you reckon you've just cost yourself a lot of money going forward with the two fighters on the undercard that you've just offered a KO double, you know, a bonus if the KO comes?
Yeah, I mean, it was just an interesting one where I was thinking, I love making these little 10-round fights, sort of English title level.
It's rarely a bad fight.
No, and two guys undefeated, got everything to gain. And I just thought to myself last night, looking at the UFC, which we copy a lot, you know, their fight of the night and stuff like that, let's just have a KO bonus. So I just said to the guys, I'll double your purses if you win by knockout. So if we weren't going to see a great scrap anyway, now we'll see an even better one. And I just think it's exciting, bit of fun. And but they didn't let me get my words out right. Just when I said I'm going to double your money, everyone started clapping. I said, no, for a KO. So that's going to kick off the main broadcast at 7 p.m. And it's a good card. You know, Chris Billam-Smith actually has a tough fight as well. Breguion is a good fighter from France. Dante Dixon, tremendous young fighter as well. I loved the fight with Terri Harper and Alicia Baumgardner. She's full of confidence. And of course, Kid Galahad ready against Kiko Martinez. And a lot of people saying, oh, you know, straightforward defence, Kiko's old and stuff like that. He's a tough guy. You know, he's lived boxing from the age of 18 or 20 when he started, and he's still fighting at that level. Gave Zelfa Barrett, you know, all kinds of action at super featherweight. This is his real weight. And I just feel, you know, with Kid Galahad, you need to bring someone in that's going to bring the heat. You can go into your shell against Kid Galahad, and it can sometimes be a little bit boring. But against an aggressive fighter, I've not seen many that are going to beat Kid Galahad. I believe he could beat all the champions.
You just mentioned about James Flynn and Dom Hunt, obviously, with the knockout bonus. Everyone's going to be scrambling around now, getting the odds on inside the distance on all of these fights. Kid's often been accused of not having the big punch power, you know, from the Ingalls stable when you're thinking Naz and the power that he had. Has he come on in that area, do you feel?
I do, and I think he's actually more of a spiteful puncher now, you know, and he's being more aggressive. If you look at the Jazza Dickens fight, he threw a huge amount of punches in that fight. And to be honest, like as a promoter, someone that obviously people want to watch excitement, but it's very difficult when you've got a guy who boxes in a style that's very difficult to beat, trying to turn him into an aggressive, come-forward fighter that's, you know, has a lot of activity in his work rate. But he did that against Jazza Dickens, and I've said to him, you have to do that. And this is the kind of fight where he can do that, but it's dangerous doing that as well. But I just feel that he is being more aggressive now. He breaks people down. He's incredibly smart on the inside. Look, you've got a brilliant fight coming up on DAZN next year, Michael Conlan against Lee Wood. The winner of that is a big fight. For me, I'd like to see him fight Navarrete. You know, I think that's a brilliant fight. I think Navarrete is so difficult to beat. But Kid Galahad is in his prime, and you know he may just beat them all.
Yeah, we've mentioned the women just very quickly. It's great to see Stevie Levy on it. Raven Chapman, who we've heard very good things about. We mentioned before, Alicia Baumgartner, the confidence in her. Great to see Terri Harper back. Do you see, Don was just saying before, there's a little bit of Jamie Mitchell, Shannon Courtney about it. She's very confident. She walked off before and she went, you just wait till Saturday night. Do you know, when people are shouting things, the confidence in her. Do you see Terri being in for a very tough night?
I think it's a tough fight because for a number of reasons. One, Alicia is very good. She's very well schooled. She punches very hard as well. Secondly, when you look at Terri Harper, she's coming back from a year layoff. She's had 2 hand operations, right? Of course, you know, big at the weight, confidence. She even spoke there about her own mental, you know, work to try and give her more confidence. I mean, that's a bit of a giveaway. Do you know what I mean? But really, she's just being honest. And all the talks, Min Choi has signed a contract to fight Terri Harper. Maya is a massive undisputed fight. But this is the toughest fight of her career, unquestionably. But they've obviously seen in the gym her improve because they wouldn't have taken this as a comeback fight. You know, you just don't take fights like this coming off 2 hand injuries. You take an easier fight and then you go into Choi and Maya. So I love it. I love that she's doing this. And you know, like I said, Mary McGee from America gave a brilliant fight. Jamie Mitchell from America came and won the world title, and she's very well schooled.
Just a final one, just some interesting chit-chat that's knocking about at the moment about 2 guys that you've promoted in Kell Brook and Amir Khan. Now, you've probably heard more than we have. I'm sure you know a lot more than we do. Is there anything you can tell us, Eddie, about that in terms of what's happening, if there's any involvement with yourself or anything?
No, I talked to them about that fight. I mean, it's still a big fight, but it's nowhere near the fight that it once was, and it's become a fight, and I don't blame the guys. It's a cash-out fight. They just want to make as much money as possible, and the money they were asking for me, just didn't make sense. You know, they think it does 1 million buys on pay-per-view. Nowhere near now, not even half of that. I want to make Conor Benn against Amir Khan, so I'm a little bit away from the scene, and I'm talking to Amir about that fight. But I can understand both guys. Look, there's still a lot of money to be made from that fight. They're both pretty much done in the sport of boxing. They want one more fight each. It's the only fight Kell Brook would take in boxing, I think, now. So let them do it. You know, just not at that price tag for me. It was too rich because I want to see Conor Benn fight Amir Khan, and if Kell Brook wants to fight Conor Benn, we can look at that as well. But he's got to beat Chris Algieri first. But I believe Kell Brook, as he said yesterday, he signed the deal, or I don't know the ins and outs, but you know, it's going to cost someone a lot of money, that fight, and I'm glad it's not me. But if it don't work out, Conor Benn against Amir Khan, yes please.
Well, of course, a big night in Sheffield, and Terri Harper is on a card for the first time in a little while as well. It's been a frustrating time for you, Terri.
Yeah, it's a day short of a year being out of the ring. It's been a tough year, but I'm grateful for the team I had around me, good support system. They didn't allow me to sit at home feeling sorry for myself. I had 2 weeks out after the operation, and then we just got back to work.
Terri, you spoke in the press there about having brave as well, sort of speaking about the mental side of things and how you've worked on that, and you feel how that's going to... Do you think, are you going to sort of enjoy walking out now Saturday, all this fight week, all the fight night, and for me, one of the best ring walks in boxing, when Alicia Keys then kicks into Davison and Belter. Are you going to enjoy that now?
Do you know what? The past times I've done these fight weeks and the build-up, I used to put that much pressure on myself. I forgot to enjoy it, and you kind of get caught up in moment. And obviously what happened with the hand the second time around, I really thought that would end my career. I thought it got taken away from me from something as daft as opening a jar. So I'm just grateful to be back here, and I told myself, enjoy every minute, soak it up, enjoy the night. And you know what, it is what it is, it's just life. I'm just doing something I love, and just not to overthink and don't sweat the small stuff.
It's been, you know, Mexicans, there was quite a lot of Mexicans coming over here and spoiling the show. Americans have done it as well. Jamie Mitchell did it very recently against Shannon Courtney. So again, you've just got to be absolutely on your toes against a very confident operator.
Yeah, she's got nothing to lose, like she said, and But for me, this is what gets the fire burning in my belly and the extra determination to get out there and get the job done. I've never shied away from a tough opponent, and I respect her for taking the fight, and I'm thankful that because we were struggling for our opponent and we needed a respectable one to come back, and I'm grateful that she's taken the fight and we can get out there, and I want to put on a great show and make a statement on Saturday night.
You see Alicia there, we can see she's a very, very worthy challenger, and I know you'd never look past her, but is the plan we come through Saturday night, you then look undisputed next year, and say you're a big girl at the weight, I know you do great work with Danny Wilson there with the S&C, nutrition. Is the plan, do you reckon in the next 12 months to move up to lightweight and win world titles and be a multiple weight world champion?
Yeah, definitely. Our main goal's always been undisputed, and that dream's becoming more reality now, and I think it's going to happen sooner than I originally thought, and the sooner I can move up weight, the better. I can eat a few more brownies, but yeah, that's the goal. Become undisputed at super feather and then look at moving up and becoming champion at multiple weights.
What is it about Doncaster, by the way? You've got yourself as a world champion, and Maxie Hughes is an IBO world champion now. Dave Allen obviously has caused...
Jason Cunningham.
Jason Cunningham, but also the McDonald's obviously as well. This is all from small places just outside Donham. What's going on?
There's something wrong. I don't know what it is. Do you know what? I think success breeds success, and we've got a great support system, and we've got the whole village and town, surrounding villages and town really behind us, and it's just really pushing everyone on, and props to Maxie. I know that Maxie and Jason, they were so close to retiring with the lockdown and stuff, and then they got these opportunities and they went out and grabbed it with both hands, and look where they are now.
That's brilliant.
No, Terri, we wish you all the best for Saturday. I'm sure it's for me, not just saying it's the pick of the fights for the night, but all the best, and we look forward to it.
Well, here we are in Sheffield at the press conference ahead of the main event, which is Kid Galahad against Kiko Martinez, but a man that, might steal the show. That's what you're going to try and do anyway, Chris Billam-Smith. And again, you have a French opponent who we don't know, I suppose, a great deal about, but seems very confident today.
Yeah, he looks in shape. He's obviously tall and a rangy fighter, but he'll be full of confidence, because I imagine he feels like he won the Terci fight last time out. Losing by 2 rounds in Italy, like I said in the press conference, is a lot of people take that as a win.
Yeah.
So he's going to be full of confidence, and now he's done the 12-round distance in a competitive fight. He's going to feel full of confidence, and I know that feeling myself. So I've got to be very switched on for Saturday.
Chris, you're on some run, and in a lot of people's opinion, the most improved fighter in Britain. What do you put a lot of that down to? Do you put it down to it with Shane in the team, confidence, maturing, or a number of those things?
Yeah, a lot of those things. It's the progression from an amateur has been obviously a huge. 90% of it's been down to Shane and me working together. I've always been very coachable, and I just needed the right coach for the pro game. And thankfully in Shane I found that, and I think that's shown in my performances and the way I've developed. But yeah, the confidence comes in as well. Getting the rounds in the gym with the people I've had sparring with over the years. Obviously I used to spar George Groves a lot, but then sparring a lot of world-class cruiserweights. Got one in the gym in Lawrence Okoli, who I believe is the best cruiserweight in the world. I was out sparring Maris Breedis last year as well. So all those things add to the confidence and also the experience, and I think confidence and experience along with Shane's coaching has just helped me develop.
Yeah. You are at a level now, sorry Anthony, I was just going to say, you're at a level now where you are talking about dream fights, because you've done the business domestically and you're moving up the ladder obviously, but in terms of Bournemouth and how you want to fight the football stadium and everything else, you are from one of those areas that people don't think about boxing. I mean, how important really, seriously, is it for you to fly the flag for the South Coast?
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's exciting, because when I was growing up, there wasn't really anyone from the area or anything like that. There was one lad who used to train in Southampton who was from down our way, and he won the ABAs and stuff. And I just thought that I just had an inner belief and inner confidence that I could do that and be different. And and now boxing in Bournemouth shoes, the amateur gyms have got. There was 3 when I started. There's got to be about 12 to 15 now. There's white collar gyms everywhere. There's pro shows down there now. So yeah, it's a really exciting time for the town, and I'd love to bring a show there. And everyone always walk around the town, like you said, it's a small place. It's people always asking me, when's the Bournemouth show happening? When's this happening? Fight at the stadium, this, that, and the other. So I would absolutely love to do that for the town.
Chris, you've done it the traditional route, the British, the Commonwealth, European. How much longer? I mean, sure, if it was up to you, you'd go tomorrow, but how much longer do you want to stay at this level for a bit until the time to be let off the leash? I know a lot of that will depend on Jimmy, Lawrence Crolla, before sort of being let off the leash for world titles.
Yeah, I think I'm quite a realist when it comes to boxing. I believe in my ability, and I know where I'm going and how I'm going to get there.
Timing's everything.
Timing is everything, and it's about developing me still as a fighter, because I don't want to just fight for a world title. I want to win one and I want to stay there. So when I get up to that level, I want to be ready to be at that level forever, rather than get one, a weaker champion, quickly win the belt, and then you're at that level and not be ready for it. So we've seen it happen time and time again, and you swiftly get forgotten about if you end up losing the next fight, losing the belt, and then you're down the pecking order. So for me, I'll take my time a little bit, but we'll definitely be looking, in the next year. It's a massive year for me about developing, and then we'll be towards the end of next year, I imagine we'll be looking at those sort of fights.
Chris, thank you, mate, and all the best for enjoying the journey.
Well, it's a big night, of course. It is in Sheffield. We've seen some fantastic nights in Sheffield, and it's a big night for Kid Galahad because you're a main eventer now. There's no messing around. Kiko Martinez, who of course we know all about, and it's one of these fights that in some ways it's no win. You're meant to deal with him now because you're at that level, but we know that he still possesses a lot of danger.
100%. And look, Kiko's been this level for a very long time, and he's always been either European or above, or world champion. That's the level he's stuck at, and he boxed for his first European title at 20 years old. He's 35 years old. That shows you he must be doing something right. And the way he isn't, I don't know, I'm a student of boxing, so I'll sit there and I'll study fighters and just see what they're doing. Kiko's one of them kids. I mean, when they boxed, your friend Scott Quiggin, I thought it was going to be really, really tough fight for him, because Kiko can fight. He's got long arms, he can punch, he's strong, he's fit, he comes forward, his head movement's better than people think it is, and he's one of them kids people kind of underestimate him because they think, he's a bit up and, straight up and down, he just comes in lines, and he doesn't. He's a very clever fighter, what he does, and he's good, and that shows, to be at this level, you must have something about you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think me and you were just talking on air, and you mentioned it, the fights he had with Josh Warrington, Scott Quigg, you mentioned before he walked onto the shot. The Zelfa fight, he really, really pushed Zelfa. Was this the kind of opponent you needed while you waiting for the Navarretes, the Lee Wood, Malcolm? Was this the kind of opponent to give you that little bit of fear factor, if he lands?
Look, the thing was, in the top 15, there wasn't really, every time we wanted someone, no one really wanted it. And Kiko Martinez, I rang and said, well, why don't you put Kiko in? Because I know he'll take the fight, because he comes to fight. He's never been in a fight and never fought.
Not brought it.
He brings it, and that's what I wanted. I wanted someone who was going to push me to, push me even further than I need to be pushed, and that's it, And look, at this level, you got a target on your back, and I'm just focused. To me, people might say, has your life changed? Is it different to being a world champion? It hasn't. I'm just focused. I just want to. Every fight, I'm just going to get better and better and better, and I just want to move up the rankings and win more stuff, of course. But it's just step by step, and that's it. And you just got to just stay focused on what you're doing. You can't take your eye off the ball, because one shot can change it all.
I've seen how dedicated you are. I know the self-belief you have, which probably comes from just how hard you work. Next year, there's 2 fights that can be made. I'm guessing one of them being the winner of Lee Wood, Michael Conlon. And I know the Navarrete fight, that's the one you want. Is that the perfect 2022 for you? Listen,
it is, but the thing is, it doesn't really matter, because we're still in 2021. Yeah. We're fighting Kiko Martinez on the 30th of November, and, I don't want to go in there and just beat Kiko. I want to go in there and I want to do a job on this guy. I want to do a job better than anyone else has done a job on him. And I'm going to go in there and seriously hit him. That's what I want to do. I'm not looking, past them. I know what he can bring, because he's had some bad decisions in the past, against Warrington, against Zalfa, and I've had a bad decision against Warrington. I'm not blaming the referees or anything, or saying this or that. That's just what they saw, and that's it. And I respect the decision what they've made, but I'm not leaving it to the judges' hands. And I believe that's the mentality he's going to bring on Saturday night, and I believe it's going to be a very exciting fight.
There's a bit of pressure on you as well, isn't there? Because Sheffield's always had a lot of boxing gyms, a lot of very good fighters. We know that, well, Kel may well be fighting Amir now down the line, we don't know, but he's from the same stable as you. Is there pressure for you to keep the flag flying? There's some great fighters in Sheffield already, but you've got this massive stage now.
100%. Look, in this gym we've had, not even in this gym in Sheffield, we've had Clinton Woods, we've had...
Ryan Rhodes, let's go.
Ryan Rhodes won the European.
Sorry.
So if you say Brian Rhodes,
no, I said Ryan.
Oh, I said Ryan. Yeah, sorry. I'm just saying, like, world champs. We have Clinton Woods, Kell Brook, Johnny Nelson, Junior Witter, Nassim Hamed, the King, and who else? The guy who Eddie used to have.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
No, Jamie was Doncaster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jamie McDonald was Doncaster, wasn't it?
Oh, the Sheffield champion recently.
Yeah. No, this was years ago. This was back in the day. Barry Hearn had him. Paul
Silky Jones, Paul Silky Jones.
World champions. But I'm saying we've had great champions. We've had, like you said, Harold Bomber Graham, probably he should have won a world title. Ryan Rhodes, another one. You know, and there's loads in there, and that's the thing. You know, boxing is very rich in Sheffield, and people love it. That's what, you know. We really produce boxers, and we produce good level boxers, just like Manchester, you know. And that's the thing in it, is it's one of them, you have to keep it going, and you know, boxing is changing bit by bit, and you know, hopefully, like we just see on the undercard here, we've got these kids like Dante Dixon. He's the next one going to come through, you know. We've got another guy called Shaquille Thompson, who's another good kid, you know. And that's it, you know. It's letting them know that they can do what I do. I wasn't as good as them. You know, I was nowhere near as good as them, and I believe these guys are going through better things than I have.
Yeah. Listen, all the best for Saturday night. We're looking forward to an explosive performance, mate, and you staking your claim again for being the number one in the division. All the best.
Well, the press conference here at Cutler's Hall in Sheffield is now over, so we have spoken to the main people, I think, today, Anthony. And just firstly, by the way, this venue.
What a beautiful building. I feel like it's... we're out of place here, Dom. It's just, what a venue for a presser.
History seeping out of the walls here. They've done boxing here, dinner shows here.
Yes, we heard from Steffi Bull earlier saying, you know, he boxed as an amateur, but what a venue. Some of the trade and labour clubs I boxed, working men's clubs I boxed to, and I never boxed anywhere this nice.
Well, we have spoken to the main people, as I say, in terms of, firstly, Eddie Hearn, who was talking about the Betfred deal, which is brilliant. He seems very excited about that. Obviously, it's a long-running thing with Matchroom Sport, with different sports as well, but boxing and Betfred works beautifully, as Eddie knows.
Yeah, no, of course, and about sort of putting the words out of Eddie's mouth, so it's the best of the business at what they do, and it's great for us to be here with all the team, and yeah, some of the shows that they've put on over the last 12 months have been unbelievable, so going from strength to strength on both sides.
One thing Eddie did say, not just about this main event, but when we put to him about Kell Brook and Amir Khan, because we are in Sheffield, we've got to throw a bit of Kell, and he promoted both men. Yeah. He obviously, it was too much for him to get involved. He didn't like the money, he didn't like the numbers, but he did say that he fancies Conor Benn with either man if they wanted that. Yeah,
interesting, and I think because, again, you know, Eddie's a very smart businessman, and he knows the way Conor Benn's profile is growing. He knows a fight with either one of them does great business, and also it'll be next year, so it's also a little bit longer. Timing is everything in this sport, and obviously the improvement of Conor Benn. But listen, I think it all depends on both lads. You know, with the greatest respect to Conor, both of those lads have achieved an awful lot, and I think the timing would have to be seriously right for Conor and Eddie to be talking about fighting those two.
On the main event, I mean, Kid Galahad is naturally very confident, and he was talking up Kiko Martinez, but he's in a bit of a no-win, isn't he? Because he's got to do a job on him. But interesting, Eddie believes he's got the spike now, he's got power, he showed it against Jazza Dickens. He seems that he's at a stage where he wants to show that side of his game as well.
I agree, and I've said it a number of times about Kid Galahad, one of the most dedicated professionals in boxing around the world. And I think with him, people don't realise how strong he is physically. So even if he's not the biggest puncher, someone that strong and he's thrown the amount of punches that he's throwing, it's trouble.
And going down the bill, I mean, we spoke to Chris Billam-Smith, who we'd expect to come through this, but you never know. Terri Harper, likewise, against, well...
Cannot wait for that one.
In terms of Bumgardner, that she could cause her all sorts of problems, who knows?
Yeah, we saw it, didn't we? I think we mentioned it with Eddie. Alicia, the confidence is seeping out, but the way she got off the stage, it was getting a little bit rowdy, and she went just dead confidently. She went to y'all watch, y'all wait and see, and just smug as anything, but you can see that's genuine confidence. that for me is going to be the fight of the night, one I can't wait for.
Well, you say that, but again, and I'm sure Betfred punters will be looking at all this now. Yes. Eddie's giving a little knockout bonus to James Flynn or to Dom Hunt. Who comes through?
I know I'm certainly going to listen. Picking a winner here and now, but I think for it not to go the distance, now the purses have been doubled. If a KO comes, now looks very, very tempting.
How would you have fancied that if Eddie threw that at you? If you were just getting mentally ready for a fight, and he said, "I tell you what, winner gets double."
To be honest, it depends at what stage in my career, and I think certainly me as a fighter, it wasn't never my style to come out and throw the kitchen sink. But I think I would have enjoyed it because of my opponent literally would have done that, and I think that would have suited me. So I wouldn't have minded him doing that.
Fair enough. So we look forward to this one on the 13th. It's going to be a busy few weeks as well. I know you've got a busy kind of time coming up, hasn't you, as well?
I have. Fighters, so much going on, and 3 of all my fighters are fighting in December, and then obviously helping out Joe's. That's a very busy time. I think obviously we've got a British title fight, and we've got Natasha Jonas out as well next week. So busy times. It's
an international weekend as well. Now, again, you've probably just about recovered from the Manchester derby last week. So what happens now then, just with your football head on? I mean, where are you standing now? There's lots of chat. I think there was a poll done and a 67% want Ollie out now.
Yeah, it's so hard because I will always back Ollie, and I think like Kenny Red, I absolutely love the man. But there's immense pressure coming on him now, and I've noticed it being in the stands. There's a lot of people too now, almost to the point, and it's not like an aggressive, get him out. It's like, he's just not good enough, and that's what they feel. So it's going to be very hard for Ollie to turn that around, and the run of tough fixtures goes on. But listen, I pray that he can, because if there's one man you want to get behind, it's certainly Ollie.
Just a couple of quick ones before we go. Canelo at the weekend did the business against Caleb Plant, who probably surprised a lot of people as far as he took him.
He did. I expected it to go that way, and I thought it was very similar to the Billy Joe Saunders fight in the way that Caleb Plant was going to have success. But Canelo, you just got to say after him. He found a way yet again, and I think that he proved he is the biggest name in boxing. Unbelievable performance, and I think he's going to have a deserved break now. I think he's talking about not being back out till May next year, so I'm guessing it'll be the Cinco de Mayo weekend. But it's just been refreshing to see a world-class fighter like that so active.
Did you get a call for Get Me Out of the Jungle, I'm a Celebrity, this year?
I didn't. I might have been tempted this year as well.
It's only in Wales as well, isn't it, again?
Forget
that. Save it to next year when you can go back to Oz.
Wait till we can go to Oz.
Fair enough. You've heard it here first. Or was it second? I might have said that one before, I don't know. But it's Love Island first, then Celebrity second. There it is. Well, thank you very much indeed. We've enjoyed being in Sheffield again. We were in Manchester the other day, and moving around the country. Great fun, isn't it, Ant?
Of course. No, it's good, and there's some great shows coming up. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching the Betfred Boxing Show.